now we can start this webinar to introduce the x86 Intel-based power single board computer to introduce the JHCTECH solution in a single board. So we just quickly to introduce all the things if you because the single board is very common products. So we just emphasis the key feature. Okay, so you can see this series we just introduced, and now today's speaker is Alex, and me, and Gary. Okay, so hey Gary, could you please give me the remote control?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, and you can control now.
So if you have any question, just ask me, and we can just maybe talk with each other. Okay, so this is the agenda. So now we have the 3 parts. The first part is the opening. So I just talk about the COVID-19 and some of the interesting issue in Taiwan. And the second one, just me, I just introduced the 3 motherboard. And the second one is for Gary. They will introduce one motherboard and one CPU module. Okay, so now we just introduce the 3 motherboard. So first of all, we just introduce our roadmap in the JHCTECH. So you can see the y-axis is for the CPU generation. We have the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and the x-axis is the size, maybe ATX, MATS, 3.5 inch, this kind of the size of motherboard. So for new product, we use the MATX i953. So you can see here the 2 new, and another one is the ATX i980. Okay, so you can see this roadmap. We have the 4 kind of the size of the motherboard, and we have different CPU generation solution. So you can see here is very easy to understand. But for the MATX i961, as you can see here, this one. Oh, I cannot use this one. Okay. So maybe some of the motherboard just cross the 2 Intel generation. That means that it can support maybe 8 and 9 Kabylake and the Skylake CPU generation. Okay. So good. So we just go into the first one is the Intel Alder Lake. This is the 12th generations Intel CPU solution. Okay. Okay. So this is the content. So we can see the roadmap table. So we have I'll just introduce the 5 motherboard. So now we just introduce the ATX i980. This version. Okay, so you can see we just emphasize the feature is the Intel Alder Lake core CPU. So we have different CPU selection. So it depends on the end user requirement. So maybe you have some require for high performance or some specific generation due the project specification. Okay, so we have a different chipset, support range, and a different display and I/O. So for this one, you can see this I/O. So we just emphasize this 2 LAN, and we have like a USB and IS232, this kind of serial port, and HDMI. We have 2. So just generate to overview the I/O. So for the feature, you can see we have the A feature. So we just high performance, high frequency RAN, this kind of the feature. So sorry, so you just the slides. It's the wrong thing. Okay, I said we have the high performance graphic PCIe. So we will introduce all those things in the following the PowerPoint. Okay. So this we just focus the Intel and 12th gen processor Alder Lake is. So it just support a lot of the features such as the core and the thread and the better performance than the older generation. So it's a latest one for the Intel CPU is the Alder Lake. So it's the best performance CPU. And now we can see just a list. You can contact your sales manager. We support a lot of the Intel 12th gen Intel core processor lineup. So you can take a look at this table. Also, we also support a Pen 10 Celeron, this kind of low-level CPU or mobile application. And next, we can see the features. Okay, so for the motherboard, it's very easy because you just select the motherboard for the size, and the next one for the CPU, and third one to check the I/O, let it verify, and I mean it's the meet the user requirement, so it's okay. Okay, let's go. So for this one is a feature for the power supply. For power supply, use the pure PWM to provide the power. So we have the 6+2+2. That means the just the support the CPU, graphic card, and the motherboard I/O. So we just use the PWM to provide smooth and stable powers. Okay, so you can see we just can support i9 this kind of CPU with the 125 watts TDP power consumption. So ultra sport power and the more power CPU. Okay. Okay, the next one is a high performance processor for Alder Lake.
Hello, Alex. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, sorry. Our customer, they are in the waiting room, so I have to let them into our meeting.
Okay, so I just show in my presentation my computer, right?
Okay. Yes, yes.
Okay. Wait a moment. Sorry. So I just open this one.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you can go now.
Okay. So I just share my screen or from your screen.
You can continue.
Okay, continue. So for the high performance processor, you can see we just support these features, and for the display, we support 4K, 8K. This is a very general specific I mean spec for current design. Another one is Windows enable gene log synchronize on the cameras, because for some of the surveillance application, maybe you have to make sure you have like a camera and let it capture the same images at the same time. Okay, and the graphic card maybe support a VD box and the DLL booster with the open Fino. So you can see Intel support CPU as well as their AI solution for Fino. Okay. So for next slide, I will just introduce the I/O. You can see here we have the almost 7 I/O, and we have support CPU RAM up to the 128. And the slot design, we just design a very special designs for the PCI slot. Just locate on the second one. So that means the locate on the second one, you can use install 1U or 2U or the other thing, the cabinet. So it's easy to use a riser card to expand your PCI and the PCIe. Okay, so it's a different design. I'll just let everyone know. And the next, we support 7+1 storage. So we have a 7 SATA 3 and 1 M.2. Okay, so it just depends on your solution, because for this kind of the motherboard, you use like HPC application. So that means that he maybe just install OS in the M.2 and use the RAID to save the data in the SATA 3. Okay, so we also support interactive manager technology and the vPro. So we just use this chipset and the CPU support, so we can use the remote manager. Okay. So next one is the USB dual power supply mode. So we have the USB 3.2 and the 2.0 interface, and we have a wake up function, and also we power supply support in the system mode. So that means that we just we can support wake up on the USB just like when you are monitor, you can just move your mouse and then you can see your motor just power on. Yeah, this kind of feature. Okay, so this is the polar standard ATX motherboard. So we can see this is the industry standard. Okay, we just go on next one. So this is the ordering information. So we just got this one, this ATSI. This motherboard is support latest Alder like CPU Intel. Okay, Intel CPU. So we just got that. It's okay. So the target market actually for this kind of motherboard now, we just focus on the machine vision, DCS, gaming, medical image, numerical control, and discrete image manufacturing. Most of the application in China now, we got a lot of the request list. We just focus on the machine learning. So it's a very common and increasing marketing. So machine learning is very popular. Okay. So you can see a product schedule. So for the DV phase, we just released in the August. Okay. Okay, I just speed up my process because I have to introduce a lot of one. So we just emphasize the key feature and the key point, the remember point to everyone. Okay, so next one is for the industrial grade motherboard. So we can see this one ATS content. And we can see now we just introduce the first one. We just introduce the 980, and now we just introduce the 971. Okay, so you can see just the support Intel 10th Kabylake core CPU. Okay, so this is the remember point. This is the latest one, 2012. Another one is the 10. Okay. So now just to next, you can take a look at the I/O. I think it's very easy. Okay. We will provide this PowerPoint if you want to know more of the I/O. Just take a look at that. So this is a very common feature. We have the 6 slots and the new design for PCI slot. And then we have the PCIe signal switch. That means that you can switch that to by 1 or by 4, depends on your application. And the USB wake up the function. Okay, so we just emphasize the 10th generation Common Lake CPU. So you can see that we can support up to the 5.3 gigahertz. And it just increased maybe the 18% in the multi-thread performance, and provide support hyper-threading technology. And next one is Core i9, i7 support DDR4 or different frequency, and support the turbo boost or max 3.0 technology. Okay, so this kind of feature just from the Intel solution. Okay, so you can see the CPU order list. We can select a different CPU depends on user application. Okay, also it's support the Pentium 0. For the JHCTECH product solution, you can see we just provide the motherboard, CPU generation, and almost different generation. We can support Pentium and Celeron, depends on various application. Okay, also it support 6+22 phase power supply for the ultra stable power and more power CPU. So we just provide a smooth phase voltage into the CPU. Okay. So it also the ATX motherboard standard. And you can see a signal switch. We can just set on the BIOS. You can use the X2 by 4 by 2 or by 4 signal to switch, and just depends on your application. And you can see we just design the second slot, so you can just insert into the 1U or 2U chassis. Okay, next. So also we support the USD standby. So actually, for the JHCTECH product line, we just always support the US standby for the user application. We just got a lot of the requirement. Okay, and also this is all the information. You can take a look about that. So just what's the remember point is the 10th generation, 10th generation Intel CPU. So for the target marketing, it's very similar to the first motherboard. Okay, we just take a look about that and take a look about the feature inspection system of the solar. So actually, you can see this kind of motherboard. We just use maybe PCIe card, serial port, PCIe, then to maybe to control my motor, to control the CCD, or this kind of the application. Okay. Okay, next is for the machine vision marketing size. Now, I just emphasize, you can see in China, it reached the 24.6 million in 2025. So it's an increasing marketing. Actually, not just only on the China, it's over the world. Okay, so you can take a look about this application marketing. Okay. So now we just introduce the third one for MATX, or it's different industry size just standard. Okay. So you can take a look. We just introduce the first one is this one ATSI. In the right side you can see the ATSI i9. This orange one, this orange block. Okay, and the next one is ATS i9-71. We just introduced the first one and the second one, and now we want to introduce the third one is for the MATX i961. In here, it's the polar 10th and 9th coffee lake, whiskey lake CPU. Okay. Okay, and you can see here, we just from the table, just the one remember point is Intel 8 and 9 Coffee Lake CPU support. Okay, and the MATX, the size standard. Okay, so you can take a look here. It's a very thin I/O interface, but I think different just support display port and HDMI, because in late generation CPU design, they focus on the display port. Because in that time, okay, the display port and HDMI just commutator. Okay, okay. So for the product feature, you can see just the CPU and the dual GPU combination. So you can see the PCIe we only support 4. Okay, okay. So for this one, just plug in 1 or 2 GPU solution, because for some of the AI solution, they don't need the very powerful CPU. They need a very powerful GPU. So maybe you just select the median level CPU with RDS. Okay. So reduce the CPU simulation and compress the application workload. And the third one, GPU computation architecture can use the perform multitask simulators. Okay, so I think it's very easy for everyone. Yeah. So you can see we also support a Xeon CPU, and we support 8th generation Intel Core Pentium Celeron. Okay. So I think another remember point, we support M.2 PCIe. Also, you can use a different kind of the interface. Okay, and we also support the RAID 1510. Okay. So this is all the information. You can take a look or contact your sales manager to understand that. So sorry, I just keep the remember point. This one is for the 7 or 8 CPU generation. Okay. So thanks everyone. I'm very loudly. I just a quick overview and introduce everyone the 3 kind of the motherboard. So now we just lucky Joe. We just want to select the lucky customer can get the coupon, so he can get a very more cheap the price from our motherboard ordering. Okay, hi Gary and Laura. Could you please just draw out our lucky guys?
Okay.
Hi everyone. Do we have any problem? Or you just see the Rita, a pretty girl in Taiwan, not see me? Great, everyone, very good. They focus on their work.
It's
Okay,
our
so first round.
yes, first round. Let's start. Okay.
Okay, stop. Okay, so we have the lucky number for the number 2. Okay, who is number 2? Number 2 is CRC Messino. Hi,
Okay.
how can I call you? CRC or Messino?
Massimo.
Massino. So Massino, welcome. Okay, you are lucky guys. So Massino, where is you from?
I'm from Italy.
Italy. Oh, cool. Because Rita just visited the SPS exhibition. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So you just from Taylor Star?
yes.
Ah, cool. Oh, thank you. So you are the lucky one. Okay. So how about COVID-19 in Italy? It's very okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Just like in Taiwan. Cool. Okay. So the lucky number is 2. Thank you. Thank you, Masili. Okay. So we just go to the second section. Is for the Gary. So you just introduce the motherboard and the CPU module. Hey, Gary. Just hand over the list to you. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alex.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gary. And today I'm going to introduce our new motherboard. It's MATX i953 and Intel Type F CPU module EOM i912. First, I will introduce our industrial grade motherboard MATX i953. And there are 5 contents. The first one is our SBC roadmap. Second one is key features of this new motherboard. The third one is ordering information. We will provide 2 models for you to in the ordering list. And the fourth is target market. We will analyze and recommend which applications or scenarios can be this new board used. And the last one is product schedule. Okay, let's start our presentation. This is our SBC series specifications. Now we have 4 standard motherboard, MATX i953, MATX i961, and EOM i910, ATX i971, and ATX 980. The last 2 are a standard ATX motherboard, and i912 is a standard 3.5-inch SoC motherboard. And the first 2 is MATX motherboard. Our MATX i953 is a Skylake or Kabylake processor. i961 is Intel S or nice Coffee Lake S processor. 912 is Intel Whiskey Lake U SoC, and 971 is the Comet Lake processor, and 980 is Alder Lake processor. Maybe our i953 is a little bit late, but I think it can fill the vacancy of our SBC motherboard and enrich our product line. Okay, and next is MATX i953 I/O interfaces. There are 3 displays: 1 VGA, 1 HDMI, and 1 DVI, 1 COM, 2 lanes, 4 USB 3, 4 USB 2, line out, and a mic. And also there are 4 expansion slots here. So what product features does it have? I will introduce from the following aspects. For example, the cost-effective processor and the standard micro ATX motherboard, rich I/O interfaces, USB wake-up function, and the PCI slot design. Okay, this new motherboard is powered by Intel 9th or 7th, 6th or 7th Skylake S or Kabylake S processor with LGA 1151 package. The chipset is H110. I think we are very familiar with this processor and the chipset, but I want to mention that Skylake S can support Windows 7 32-bit and 64-bit. Kabylake S can only support with Windows 7 64-bit, and they all can support Windows 10. Some of the Skylake S or Kabylake S have hunted production, and here is a list of Intel Kabylake S processors. Some of them are very popular. For example, 7700 or 760. It not only can support 35-watt or 65-watt TDP, it also can support 91-watt like i7 7700K because our motherboard CPU power design. And the next is a list of supplement to the previous one. The performance like cores or threads or core clock, many choices of Skylake S or Kabylake S processor for you. Next, as I said, MATX i953 is the standard micro ATX motherboard. The dimension is with the square design, 244 millimeters. Except for the basic I/O interfaces, there are rich I/O interfaces on the motherboard. Our standard model S101 have 4 USB 3 and 6 COM, but there are another model S002 with 8 USB 3 and 12 COM. Next is the USB dual power supply design. USB 3 and USB 2 interfaces are equipped with a wake up function. You can change to system mode USB powered supply. Is 900 for USB 3 and 500 milliampere with USB 2 in the system mode. The mode switching via the motherboard jumper. And next is the PCI slot design. The position of the PCI slot is adjusted from the edge of the motherboard to the signal slot close to CPU. Even if it is installed within 1U or 2U or other signal cabinets, it's easier to use the riser card expansion PCI and the PCIe x86 slots together. Therefore, SATA port standard is SATA 3 signal. One of SATA port can be connected to SATA DOM storage by jumper. So you can connect 3 SATA disk and 1 SATA DOM storage disk. That was the introduced I/O functions earlier, and here is the MATX i953 order information. There are 2 models, S01 and S02. The difference is that S02 with 8 USB 3 and 12 COM. The S01 with 4 USB 3 and 6 COM. Others are all same. Next is target market. Our new motherboard mainly used to machine vision, medical imaging, numerical control, and so on. Especially for the machine vision, there are 3 electronics, solar, or logistics, and other applications. Last one is product schedule. Now it has been mass produced in May, so you can order it now. Okay, next is Intel Skylake U SoC. CPU. Properly speaking, I think it's not a standard motherboard because it has no I/O interfaces. I think it's a module, and the I/O board can be customized. It is EON i912. There are three contents. The first one is the key features of EON i912. Second one is target market, and last one is order information. So what's the product does this module motherboard have? I will introduce it from the high performance CPU, powerful GPU, and AI computing. It can support Intel TCC technology. It supports high frequency dual channel memory and the Intel IEN Type F design. First, its CPU performance. It adopts Intel Tiger Lake U 11th generation SoC, low power single chipset, low power single chip processor. Core i3, i7, i5 are all 4 cores and 8 threads, which is the platform with the highest UIT processor performance on the market. According to the Intel data, the 11th generation Intel processor Tiger Lake U platform can achieve an 19% improvement in multi-threading performance compared to the Skylake processor. Next is the powerful GPU and AI computing. Tiger Lake U Core i3 Benton Celeron with the Intel UHD graphical, and the Core i5, i7 with the Intel Iris Xe graphical, supporting Intel deep learning technology. It can up to 8 TOPS. So the CPU already with the powerful AI computing technology. It also can support Intel TCC technology. So the real-time performance will be improved than before. The timing jitter within 10 microseconds. It can support dual-channel DDR4 memory up to 64 GB. Optionally, you can choose the ECC memory. The motherboard EON i912 and the subcard adopt Intel Type F design standard, which can improve shock resistance ability obviously, and it can also support various kind of I/O high-speed signal. We all know that a complete PC can include a CPU module and the external I/O carrier board. There's no external I/O on the EON i912 CPU module, so you can flexibly match with various customized carrier boards to expand functions such as power supply, USB, LAN, by Type F board-to-board connector. The board-to-board connector can transmit high-speed signals and ensure a more complete signal. The PCB are connected without a cable, which has a high anti-vibration performance. The next part is target market. It also can use for machine vision, industrial robot or AGV, and other applications. The last one is order information. There are 4 models from Stereo. There are 4 models: i3, i5, i7, and Stereo. Different models with different processor. Okay, that's all for my sharing of our new motherboard. And next is the Q&A time. We have list some questions And if you have other questions with our motherboard, and you can ask with us.
Yeah. Sorry, I just mute my microphone. So just go to the third part for the the QA. So we have prepared some questions from the customers, and you can just ask your question from maybe in chat channel or just use your microphone. Okay. So hey Gary, could you please just go now?
So Alex, I want to
Yeah.
ask, what's the meaning of hyper-threading?
Okay, so just click and just follow hyper threading.
Yes.
Sorry, could you just click that? Yeah, okay. So for the Intel hyper threading technology, it's a hardware innovation that you just you can use the each code just one more thread. That means that you can use two thread in the one code because it uses a very special technology, not just one thread in one code. So more threads means that more work can be done in the parallel. So it can improve the CPU about 30%. So for this one, you should remember, okay, it improve the CPU thread output about 30% by the hyper threading technology. Yeah.
Okay, I know.
Okay.
And yes, I have another question. What's meaning of the 6 and +2 of our ATX i980?
Yeah, actually for the phase power supply, that means for VRM table for the power phase. The power phase means when we just provide the CPU power, we use the different phase. So that means that you can just by this phase design, you can provide more smooth and stable power supply to the CPU. Okay, so you can see here we actually you can see the spec from the number plus the number plus the number. So you can see this table for the first one means for the CPU VCC phase. Actually, you can see 6 or 8 in the general spec. Okay, another one is for a graphic VCC, or what we say SoC PCH for the graphic card. I mean, the internal graphic card, not just like the NVIDIA graphic card, just the internal graphic card. He used the 2-phase. Okay, and for the board I/O, we use another 2-phase. Okay, so that means that we can provide more stable power on the motherboard. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, thank you. So I think it's the final one. So I think we should finish your QA. So now this is for early bird coupon. So you can just take a look and get a coupon to order or product. Okay, so more of the information or more of the question you can ask, and also you can contact your me or Gary or your sales manager. So I think it's the end. So thank you everyone. Thank you for your time. And you can stay in touch from the Facebook and LinkedIn, YouTube. Just write and tweet. Yep. Okay.